Let's talk about Chloe Price, because I don't think DeckNine is going to do it anytime soon. Chloe Price's appearance in Life is Strange Double Exposure has been the #1 topic of conversation within the community ever since the game was announced earlier this year, but developer DeckNine haven't broken their silence on the subject yet, and they might just be doing it on purpose. Hi, I'm Cucu. I recently played a segment of Life is Strange Double Exposure, and I'm here to put your restless mind at ease and talk about why Chloe is going to be in the game, how she'll appear, and why the developers are keeping us in the dark. Before we get into it, most people who watch my videos aren't subscribed. If you enjoy these sorts of videos, definitely consider subscribing for more Life is Strange content. Now, let's start by debunking some popular theories that are out there and making some disclaimers. I've read the same comment in every single one of my videos. In fact, I even started to believe in this theory myself for a while. Since Double Exposure was announced, fans have been speculating from day one that Max's timeline shifting power would force her to hop across two realities, one where Chloe was saved and another where she was sacrificed. Did this end up being true? My game was automatically set in the sacrifice Chloe ending, and so when I opened up my phone, the only mention of her that I found was through Joyce's social page. I spent a good few minutes jumping between timelines, looking through all of my texts, and there was no difference. Chloe's fate will be the same across both timelines, and the only difference between the two is whether Max's friend Safi is still alive or not. While they definitely have the capability, I don't think the developers would go to the level of modifying pre-release builds of the game just to throw people off about Chloe. Sure, it's a possibility, but I seriously don't think they'd do this. I think this version of the game is likely the final release version, if not extremely close to it. This narrows down our understanding of Chloe massively. We know now that DeckNine are not going to pull a fast one on us, and they are not going to make us play in a timeline that we're unhappy with for half of the game. Another thing, I want to take the time to put the Chloe is dead rumours to rest. Jonathan Stauder, the director for Life is Strange Double Exposure, recently confirmed during a PAX panel that if Chloe was saved at the end of the first game, she will be alive at the beginning of Double Exposure. So don't worry, she's not dead. The question is not whether she's alive during the events of Double Exposure, but whether she'll actually show up within the game itself. So, will Chloe appear in Double Exposure? Like, sure, we know there'll be references here and there, but what are the chances of her actually showing up? Much higher than you'd think, actually. In the summer of 2022, 2 years before Double Exposure would even be revealed to the public, an anonymous leaker posted a message on a Gaming Leak subreddit discussing the next Life is Strange game. The leak stipulates that the next title would feature Max Caulfield as its protagonist, and in fact, this idea has been discussed even before this. But this leak is really interesting because it predicts so many key plot details in such specifics that it can't not be real. Listen to this. Apparently, she's a professor at an art school and her powers have been upgraded so she can travel to alternate realities and use that to solve mysteries. It also follows the choices you made in the first game, and Chloe can make an appearance if you kept her alive. The basis of the story is that she's investigating the murder of a friend/student of hers. She steps between realities and ends up finding her friend alive in the alternate timeline and uses that to solve the murder. There will apparently be other people with powers in this game as well. There is not a single detail in this leak that's been proven to be untrue. She does step between realities and finds her murdered friend to be alive in this alternate timeline. The murder is described as impossible, and the leak does stipulate that there will be other people in the game that have supernatural abilities. But the most crucial bit, Chloe can make an appearance if you kept her alive. This leak has been right about everything else, so why wouldn't it be right about Chloe? DeckNine have confirmed that Safi will have a conversation with Max about Chloe at the beginning of the game, in which you'll be able to confirm your ending choice of Life is Strange 1. There's been a somewhat infamous screenshot of this conversation circulating the internet, in which Max can either refer to Chloe as a high school sweetheart or a childhood friend. This has understandably made quite a few people worried, as Max seems to be talking about Chloe in the past tense here, like she's no longer a part of her life. However, I'm here to put your fears at rest. It's almost guaranteed that this gameplay clip, like all the others we've seen, is from the timeline where Chloe is dead, where it would make sense for Max to talk about Chloe in the past tense and keep a photo of her in her wallet. I think it's likely that we'll see an entirely different conversation between Max and Safi in the timeline where Chloe is alive, as it's likely that Safi would know about her life partner. Now, we're in some interesting territory here, because if Chloe is alive and well, it begs a lot of questions. Why is she not currently with Max? What is she doing? Where is she? As for where Chloe is, I would place bets on Chloe encouraging Max to take up Yasmin's offer of becoming an artist in residence at Caledon University. Life is Strange 2 establishes that the two were touring the country together, and Max was having trouble getting her work into galleries. When Max is talking to Safi, she remarks that her position at the university got her out of freelance hell, implying and she didn't really have a consistent flow of income or stable work. Chloe has always encouraged Max to pursue her career in photography, no matter what, and I think if that meant some time apart while Max got to live her dream as an established artist, I'm almost certain she'd not only encourage her to do it, she would push her to do it. I think it's very likely that the two are going long distance for a while. They definitely aren't broken up because 1, that wouldn't respect the original endings of the game, which DeckNine have stated they're committed to doing, and 2, the amount of times that Max and Chloe say that they're bonded for life or together forever would become completely meaningless. Some people have questioned whether this game is motivated by love or profit, and that's a whole other conversation, but DeckNine are not going to kick Don't Nod in the teeth like that. These are people who love these characters and the people who created them. But if Max and Chloe are so important to each other, why not just ditch the excuses and make them go through the game together as companions? See, this is what's interesting about Double Exposure. It's a really hard game to make. The ending of the original game was incredibly polarizing, with an almost uniform 50-50 split on decisions. Just as many people chose to sacrifice Chloe as Arcadia Bay. Not to mention, the developers have stated multiple times that they want Double Exposure to be as accessible as possible for new fans of the franchise. This means that they'd have difficulty imposing elements of Max's previous life into this game. If you're DeckNine, you're faced with 3 options. Option 1. Make one ending canon and stick to it, which completely alienates half of your player base who has no interest in the other ending. Life is Strange fans, despite how it may seem online, are not all die-hard Max and Chloe shippers. Some people genuinely just liked the vibe of the game, and some people never even saw them as a couple. A lot of these people will have sacrificed Chloe with a heavy heart, wanting to save the people of Arcadia Bay, and it really wouldn't be fair to invalidate their ending choice just because Pricefield is popular. This is a bad option, and I don't think a development studio with any sense would do this. Option 2. Make 2 entirely separate versions of Double Exposure, one with Chloe and Max, and one with just Max, to honour both endings. This is a no-no for several reasons. It would require an incredibly high budget and would almost double development time. Now, we love these characters, and we definitely wish this was the case, but let's face it, we are lucky to still be getting Life is Strange releases at all. Sad as it may be at times to see it driven by profit, Square Enix does need to make money to keep funding more of these games. While implementing a completely split playthrough for all players to enjoy would be amazing, it's just not plausible to have one version of events where Chloe is a main character and one where she isn't. They'd need to change almost every scene and the game would narratively go down a different path. I mean, think about it, if it was just Max investigating Rachel's murder in the first game without Chloe, it would have been a wildly different story. You can't just remove or add main characters to an established narrative at will, because the idea is that they will have agency and drive the plot forward. Chloe would feel really shoehorned in if she was in any way a determinant part of the main story. So that leaves us with option 3. Go in between. Have the same game, but enough meaningful differences between the 2 playthroughs to make the players feel like their choices mattered. Have determinant scenes, lines, assets, and character appearance, while keeping returning characters far away from the plot. And that is 100% the option they've gone for. The same core narrative and themes with a few lines of dialogue, assets, and scenes changed. We've already seen that the 2 timelines can change how Max's room is decorated and the photos she keeps, but I think that's just the beginning. See, from the marketing so far, it seems like people who chose to sacrifice Chloe will get the option to romance Amanda, the game's new love interest. It seems like Amanda will invite Max out on a date at some point during the game, where they end up at a comedy club. But for players who chose to save Chloe, this option doesn't make sense. Why would Max go on a date with Amanda if she's already got Chloe? And I think they're going to replace the Amanda date segment with something fun. Walk with me here. I want you to think about Double Exposure for a moment. What's that white stuff on the ground outside? Why is Max wearing a big coat everywhere she goes? Why are there festive decorations around? It's winter, and more specifically, it's the build-up to Christmas. And when would be a more perfect time for Max to get a surprise visit from Chloe? I mean, seriously, think about it, it makes perfect sense. Chloe knows that Max is having a hard time at Caledon and that she's been through some awful stuff, and she starts planning a surprise Christmas visit. If the game is going to have a scene where Max goes on a date with Amanda in one timeline, they need to have something similarly uplifting and light-hearted in the other timeline, just for pacing and tonal reasons. Having a scene like this would be the perfect balance of respecting original fans and giving them an insight into how Max and Chloe's relationship has evolved over the years, while still keeping the game's plot on track. Chloe could act as a light-hearted cameo during your playthrough. Let's not forget, DeckNine loved doing this. They added a lot of fan-favourite characters in Before the Storm. They had Chloe's friends Steph and Mikey reappear in True Colours, and they're literally making a game about Max Caulfield. They're not going to pass up this opportunity. As much as we'd love her to, Chloe just can't play a major role in helping Max in the plot because it would cause a lot of divergent threads and potential for plot holes. Chloe's appearance needs to be kept solely as light-hearted fan service, probably with some sort of optional romantic tone to her visit. It wouldn't make sense from a plot perspective for her to get involved with the mystery, and the poor girl has been through enough. Double Exposure's marketing has been hinting at Chloe for so long. We've seen pictures of her, she's been mentioned in dialogue, developers have made cryptic tweets about her, and we may have even heard her voice in one of the trailers.
It's dangerous out there.
But we've not actually seen her or had her confirmed to be in the game. The reason they haven't shown Chloe off in full is because it's generating conversation. If you check any of the Life is Strange team's social posts, it's full of people asking where Chloe is. And they're not stupid, they know that people are begging for even a hint of her being in the game. While many people are worried that the silence about Chloe means she's unlikely to appear, I don't think this is the case. If Chloe wasn't going to show up, their silence makes no sense. It would be a stupid decision, plain and simple. See, it would cause massive reputational damage to the studio and the franchise if they continue to hint at Chloe's existence if she didn't turn out to be a presence in Double Exposure at all. And I say this from the perspective of somebody who works in marketing. For Square Enix, it would come across as very misleading if they clearly spent months hinting that Chloe would be in the game and she never showed up, and they're very aware of this. On the other hand, playing their cards early and putting Chloe as a central focus and boldly advertising that she's in the game just for her to only show up in one scene, that might cause even worse reputational damage. Breaking their silence now could cause fans to get their hopes up too high for Chloe to play a major role in Double Exposure, and may lead to them becoming dissatisfied with their experience when they play the game. Misleading a fanbase will only ever lead to them becoming alienated with your brand. With Square Enix being a billion-dollar company, they're not going to do that. Conversely, if they did come out with an announcement that Chloe is in the game now, the conversation and engagement would spike for a few days before dying off really quickly. By keeping us in the dark, they keep engagement high and expectations are managed, which is great for marketing, as unfortunate as it might be for us. Now, I'm not going to be the person to critique Square Enix's marketing of Life is Strange Double Exposure. I do think that given the circumstances, this is the best thing they can possibly do. Show your cards too early and people get pissed off. Avoid the topic of conversation altogether and people get pissed off, but slightly less so. They're just trying to keep anticipation high. If we want an idea for when Chloe will appear in the game, I want you to think about the 2-week early release for those who own the Ultimate Edition. If you're not familiar with this, Square Enix are currently offering the first 2 out of 5 episodes of Double Exposure 2 weeks early to players who purchase the Ultimate Edition. But why the first 2 episodes? That seems like an oddly specific number. However, I think there may be a reason for them wanting to keep episode 3 onwards a secret until release day. Hear me out. Look at DeckNine's 2 previous Life is Strange games, Before the Storm and True Colours, both of which have extremely happy middle episodes, often focused on some kind of love. Episode 2 of Before the Storm is mostly high-spirited and has Chloe and Rachel's relationship at the forefront, while Episode 3 of True Colours has the role-playing segment and the option to flirt with Steph and Ryan with the Spring Festival on the horizon. Wouldn't it make so much sense then for Episode 3 of Double Exposure, the middle episode, to have Chloe appear to visit Max, to lift the spirits of the game and remind her that there's still joy and happiness in the world? Especially after how heavy-hitting the first few episodes appear to be. With Max losing her best friend, it just makes perfect sense that Chloe would be around and about. In a photo Max posts on social media of Amanda, she describes her as somebody who knows how to make me smile. I'm paraphrasing that, but the gist is that it appears that Amanda cheers Max up at some point throughout the game. Again, in the timeline where Chloe is alive, this doesn't really make sense. I'd be willing to bet we'll have the opportunity to call Chloe or text her throughout the game to fill some of this support gap for Max. It seems like with the release date now only 2 months away that they're just not going to break their silence on Chloe, and I can't see her making a physical cameo in the first couple of episodes. I wholeheartedly believe that she'll be making an appearance during or after episode 3, and that they're reserving the surprise cameo for when the game comes out. They've got the conversation going, and I think they're 100% prepared to blow us out of the water on October 29th with a grand Chloe reveal. I am prepared to eat my words if this doesn't end up being true, but I am absolutely positive this is what they're planning. It strikes the perfect balance between Double Exposure having its own unique identity and also paying homage to Max's roots, and I'm really excited to see it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's helped quell any worries you might have had about Chloe. Rest assured, I don't think DeckNine has forgotten about Price Field. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more Life is Strange videos, why not subscribe for more? Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, as it massively helps me out. Also, did you know you can now become a member on my channel? Not only does it help support me, but you also get a cool badge next to your name, priority responses to comments, and early access to upcoming videos that nobody else gets to see. If that sounds like your kind of thing, why not become a member and join the crew? But with that, I think I've said my piece. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to check on your Price Fielder friends in these trying times, and have a nice day. Bye bye.